Greetings, YouTube. I get several requests behind the scenes in the Line app to make certain videos that I just never make. Part of it's a time element. I only have certain time to produce content, and I don't want it to suck. But besides that, sometimes I just think, the topic's kind of not worth it. And so I kind of thought that when I got the notification over a day ago now about Intel being added to daily specials. But I got so many requests from people who were like, Prof, why aren't you doing a video on this? That finally, I just kind of threw my hands up and I said, look, I think I can take this video in a way that is worth somebody's few minutes of time, that is not just going to waste it, but still be valuable. And so that is what I'm going to attempt to do today. Now, of course, this discussion is largely geared toward those of you who are uncollected, because the Grandmaster's Daily Special is by far the best value versus the normal Daily Special. Now, the good news is the Intel is the same for both. You just get a lot less for your $5 than if you are uncollected. So if you're uncollected, you can just see, instead of this mutant crystal, that you've got a 10% chance for a 4-star, which is still a good drop rate. I mean, that's the same drop rate as if you're targeting, say, a champion in one of the 5-star dungeon crystals, or I guess even 4-star dungeon crystals. But at the same time, who wants a chance for a 4-star when you have now a 5% chance at a 5-star? And so I really like these daily Grandmaster crystals, especially now that the drop rates have been increased to the rest of the normal increase in the Grandmaster drop rates of the purchased ones, at least, not the shard-based ones. And then, 2,000 Tier 4 Mutant Catalyst Fragments, fine. 2,000 Tier 4 Basic, fine. 360 Tier 2, pretty darn small amount. I mean, obviously, you'd have to buy, 100 of those to get a fully formed Tier 2 Alpha, which is $500 for a Tier 2 Alpha, which is insane. But, I guess you're really paying for the crystal, and all this other stuff is a bonus, just like the 100 5-star shards, which is more valuable than the 360 Tier 2 Alpha Catalyst Fragments. But I think I want to frame this idea around purchasing 5 days of this, or getting 500 extra Intel for your buck. Now, keep in mind that this is a really important strategy, because why am I talking about 500 specifically? Which is $25, right? If you get $5 deals, it ends up being $25. And so that is essentially in between what you would spend if you were wanting to buy, say, a Tony Stark's briefcase or a Star-Lord's loot bag. You're somewhere in between the $30 and the $10 range, obviously closer to the $30. Let's just say for what it is, it's about the price of Tony Stark's briefcase. It's $5 less. It's $25 USD instead of $30. And I always have to say, because people complain about this, of course, if the conversion rates are higher in your country, it's higher than $30. If you're in India or Australia, Canada, etc. And so, yes, I get that. But let's say you have 500 extra Intel. Well, what is that going to do for you? Well, first off, people, understandably so, after maybe struggling a bit with the Kingpin boss, are worried about the Nick Fury boss that comes into the contest tomorrow. I, for one, am still terrible at fighting Nick Fury. I don't know really how to use dexterity to time the special evade right. And so it feels like a proximity mine if you're really old like me. I guess not really old, but old enough to remember the Nintendo 64 and GoldenEye and how that changed personal shooters forever. But yeah, so if you go into the Intel store and you have an extra 500 Intel to play with, that is exactly the price that you need for the best Intel value in the store, and that is the half of a Tier 2 Alpha. So you are essentially getting enough Intel to guarantee yourself this. And of course, even if you're not uncollected and you still get the daily special for the 10% chance at the 4-star, you are still guaranteeing yourself that 500 Intel. And that may not mean a lot to some people who aren't anywhere near having a 5-star that they can take up to rank 4, or certainly a 5-star they can take up to rank 5, or a 6-star rank 2. But when you need it, those Tier 2 Alphas are amazingly valuable. Of course, there are some people who message me who are in the opposite problem. They have an overflow of these things, and they don't have enough resources or a good champion to spin it on. So their first rank 4 ends up being somebody that's a bit underappreciated but still not the top option, like a Civil Warrior, for example. And so I have those kind of conversations separately with people online about, what's the best quote-unquote middle-tier champ to rank up, because you don't. The worst thing you can do, and I've seen people do this and it breaks my heart, is let those Tier 2 Alphas that are still so valuable expire. That just, that gets to me every time I hear a story of somebody do that. You do not want to it's better to rank up a quote-unquote bad champ than it is to not rank up a single champ, because those items are just so valuable. You don't want to give them away for nothing. So 500 intel, it gives you the opportunity after the course of 5 days to guarantee yourself half of a T2 Alpha. That is valued, I think, right now at about $20 to $25 of cash in the game. I still think the going rate for Tier 2 Alpha, according to Kabam, is about $50. Hopefully, at this point, when that pops up in the cash store, there are multiple things thrown in, like Tier 5 basic fragments and maybe even 5-star or 6-star shards. But I do think for an extra, for $25, you get $25 value. And that's not even counting everything you get, especially if you're uncollected. That's every chance. Like, who knows? You could listen to my video and you could spend that $5 and you could get a 5-star Domino for your collection, or Archangel, or Iceman, or Omega Red as I continue to hunt. And then you're telling me you wouldn't pay $5 for one of those 5-star champions? That'd be an amazing value. And then on top of that, you get the intel, and then of course the Tier 4 class Catalyst Fragment bonus, the Tier 4 basic Catalyst Fragment bonus, and a very, very small Tier 2 Alpha bonus along with the 100 5-star shards. So 5 days of these guarantees you in your intel stash, regardless of what you are at right now in terms of saving intel, enough intel for half a Tier 2 Alpha. It is a guaranteed great decision if you can afford the $25 over the course of 5 days. If you can't, I always say if you can scrounge up something like a Swagbucks currency, or maybe a different site you use to get an iTunes or Google Play gift card instead, it's worth it, because let me tell you, that's saved me more times than not. And I really do like the price point at $5. It's actually a very, very fair price point, especially for the added intel bonus. So for those of you who have complained that I haven't spent the time to do this, I'm in between classes on this Tuesday. I am now able to record this, and I hope that this video serves your needs well, that your time wasn't wasted, and that you can think about maybe getting 5 days worth of the Daily Crystal, especially if you're not sure if you can 100% complete the epic difficulty of the intel mission when it comes out, and instead just guarantee yourself that half a Tier 2A. You'll be very thankful you did. And again, thanks for watching my channel, supporting it, and all I can say is have a great day. Good luck in all content in the game.